Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our English Conversation podcast. Hi, Emily. I'm really excited about today's topic because everyone wants to become more successful, but I think many people misunderstand what success actually is.
Hi, James. I completely agree. When people hear the word success, they often think about money, expensive houses, luxury cars, or famous people. But psychology teaches us that success begins much earlier than those visible achievements. It begins with the way we think.
That's interesting. So before people change their lives, they usually change their mindset.
Exactly. Every action begins with a thought. Every habit begins with one small decision. Every achievement begins with someone believing that improvement is possible. That's why psychologists often spend so much time studying beliefs, motivation, habits, and behavior.
Many people believe successful people are simply born different.
That's one of the biggest myths. Of course, everyone has different strengths and different opportunities, but research consistently shows that many successful people share similar ways of thinking. They believe they can learn. They accept challenges. They continue improving even after making mistakes.
So success is less about being perfect and more about continuously growing.
Exactly. Imagine two students learning English. Both begin at the same level. The first student says, "I'm just not good at languages." The second student says, "I'm not fluent yet, but I'll improve if I practice." Which student do you think will continue studying?
Definitely the second one, because that student believes improvement is possible.
Exactly. That simple belief changes everything. When people believe they can improve, they become more willing to practice, accept feedback, and continue learning.
I've noticed something similar in sports. The athletes who improve the most aren't always the ones with the greatest natural talent. They're often the ones who practice consistently.
Absolutely. Talent may help someone begin faster, but consistent effort usually determines where they finish.
That reminds me of something I once heard. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
I love that quote. It reminds us that potential means very little without action.
Let's talk about fear. Why does fear stop so many people from becoming successful?
Because fear often convinces us that failure is dangerous. People become afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid of looking foolish. They're afraid of being criticized. So instead of taking action, they do nothing.
And doing nothing feels safer.
At first, yes, but over time, avoiding challenges usually creates even greater regret. Most successful people eventually realize that temporary discomfort is much better than lifelong regret.
So courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite fear.
Exactly. Every successful person has experienced fear. The difference is that they didn't allow fear to make their decisions.
I've also noticed that successful people seem very patient.
That's because they understand something important. Real success usually takes years. Modern society often celebrates overnight success stories, but we rarely see the years of learning, practicing, failing, and improving that happened behind the scenes.
Social media sometimes makes success look instant.
It does. People usually share the result. They don't always share the long journey that made the result possible.
That creates unrealistic expectations. People expect dramatic progress after only a few weeks.
Exactly. When progress feels slow, they assume something is wrong, but meaningful growth often happens gradually. Learning English, building a business, improving your health, saving money, developing confidence, all of these require patience.
So patience isn't waiting without doing anything. It's continuing to work while waiting for results.
That's a perfect definition. Successful people understand that today's effort becomes tomorrow's opportunity.
Another thing I've noticed is that successful people seem to enjoy learning.
Absolutely. They remain curious. Instead of pretending they know everything, they continue asking questions. They read books, they listen to podcasts, they learn from mentors, they observe other successful people. Learning becomes a lifelong habit.
That probably explains why they continue growing long after reaching one goal.
For many successful people, growth becomes part of their identity.
That's a powerful difference. Instead of asking, "How can I become successful?" perhaps we should ask, "How can I become someone who continues learning?"
I couldn't agree more. Because when learning becomes your lifestyle, success often follows naturally.
Most people admire successful people, but very few people know what their daily lives actually look like.
That's true, James. People usually see the final achievement, but not the daily routine behind it. Success is often much less exciting than people imagine. Instead of dramatic moments, it's usually built through simple habits repeated every day.
That's interesting, because many people are waiting for a huge breakthrough.
Exactly. But successful people rarely depend on one lucky opportunity. Instead, they prepare themselves every day so they're ready when opportunities finally appear.
So preparation creates opportunity.
Absolutely. The more you learn, practice, and improve yourself, the more opportunities you're able to recognize and use.
Let's talk about morning routines. Many successful people seem to value the beginning of the day.
Yes. Although every person is different, many highly successful people begin their mornings intentionally. Instead of immediately checking social media or reacting to distractions, they focus on activities that prepare their minds for the day.
Such as reading, exercising, planning, or learning something new.
Exactly. A calm and organized morning often leads to a more productive day.
I've noticed that successful people also protect their time very carefully.
Time is one of the few resources that everyone receives equally. Every person has 24 hours in a day. The difference lies in how those hours are used.
That's a powerful thought. Money can be earned again. Lost time cannot.
Exactly. That's why successful people ask themselves, is this activity bringing me closer to my goals? If the answer is no, they often choose to spend their time differently.
Another habit I've noticed is reading. Many successful people seem to read constantly.
Absolutely. Books allow us to learn from people we've never met. Instead of spending years making every mistake ourselves, we can learn from the experiences of others.
That's one reason I enjoy reading biographies. You learn how successful people solved problems and overcame challenges.
Exactly. Learning from others helps us avoid unnecessary mistakes and discover better ways of thinking.
Let's talk about discipline. We've already discussed it in another series, but I think it's closely connected to success.
Very much so. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll feel excited. Other days you won't. Successful people don't depend entirely on motivation. They depend on routines and discipline.
So they continue working even when they don't feel like it?
Exactly. Their actions are guided by their goals rather than their emotions.
I've also noticed that successful people are comfortable saying no.
That's another important habit. Every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. Successful people understand that protecting their time and energy is essential.
So saying no isn't being rude. Sometimes it's being responsible.
Exactly. It allows you to focus on your highest priorities.
Let's discuss failure. Many people believe successful people rarely fail.
Actually, the opposite is often true. Successful people fail frequently because they're constantly trying new things. The difference is that they don't allow failure to stop them. They study it, they learn from it, then they improve.
So failure becomes part of the learning process.
Exactly. Imagine a scientist performing an experiment. If it doesn't work, the scientist doesn't immediately quit. They gather information, make adjustments, and try again. Successful people often approach life the same way.
That's such a healthy mindset.
It is. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? They ask, what can I learn from this experience?
Another quality I've noticed is curiosity. Successful people always seem eager to learn.
Curiosity keeps the mind growing. The world changes constantly. Technology changes, businesses change, languages evolve. The people who continue learning are usually the ones who continue succeeding.
So graduation isn't the end of education.
Exactly. Learning should continue throughout life.
Let's imagine someone wants to become successful but feels overwhelmed. Where should they begin?
I'd recommend beginning with one small habit. Read 10 pages every day. Study English for 30 minutes. Exercise for 20 minutes. Write your goals each morning. Small habits may seem insignificant, but they create remarkable changes over time.
That reminds me of something we've discussed before. Consistency beats intensity.
Absolutely. Doing a little every day is usually much more powerful than doing a lot once in a while.
Before we finish today's conversation, what's one daily habit you'd recommend to every listener?
I'd recommend ending every day by asking yourself one question. What did I learn today? That habit keeps your mind focused on continuous improvement.
I love that. Success isn't only about what you achieve, it's also about who you become while pursuing your goals. Every successful person eventually faces difficult moments. The real question is how they respond.
Exactly, James. Most people think successful people have easier lives, but in reality, many successful people face enormous pressure, criticism, uncertainty, and failure. The difference isn't the absence of problems, it's the way they think about those problems.
So when something goes wrong, their first reaction is different?
Very different. Instead of immediately asking, why is this happening to me? They often ask, what can I learn from this? That single question changes everything.
Because the brain immediately starts searching for answers instead of excuses.
Exactly. The moment you begin looking for lessons instead of someone to blame, you begin taking control of the situation.
I've noticed that successful people rarely spend much time complaining.
That's true. Complaining may reduce frustration for a few moments, but it rarely improves the situation. Successful people prefer to spend their energy solving problems rather than describing them.
That's a powerful habit. Instead of asking, whose fault is this? They ask, what's my next step?
Exactly. Action creates progress. Complaining usually creates more frustration.
Let's talk about rejection. Everyone experiences it at some point. How do successful people deal with rejection?
They understand that rejection is part of growth. A writer may receive dozens of rejection letters before publishing a best-selling book. An entrepreneur may build several unsuccessful businesses before creating a successful one. An athlete may lose hundreds of competitions before becoming a champion.
So rejection doesn't necessarily mean you're on the wrong path.
Exactly. Sometimes rejection simply means you haven't reached your goal yet. Persistence often matters more than immediate success.
That word yet seems very important.
It is. Instead of saying, I can't do this, successful people often say, I can't do this yet. That one word keeps the door open for future improvement.
Let's imagine an English learner. After several months of studying, they still struggle to speak fluently. Many people would become discouraged.
Yes, but a growth-minded learner understands that every conversation is practice. Every mistake teaches something. Every lesson builds confidence. Fluency doesn't arrive in one dramatic moment. It develops gradually through thousands of conversations.
I think patience is becoming one of the biggest themes in this series.
Absolutely. The modern world encourages instant results, but meaningful success usually develops slowly. Trees don't grow overnight. Muscles don't become strong after one workout. Languages aren't mastered in a single month. Real growth takes consistent effort.
Another quality I've noticed is optimism, but successful people don't seem unrealistic.
Exactly. Healthy optimism isn't pretending that everything is easy. It's believing that challenges can be overcome through learning, effort, and persistence.
So optimism creates hope without ignoring reality.
That's right. Successful people see problems clearly. They simply refuse to believe that problems are permanent.
Let's discuss criticism. Many people are afraid of what others think.
That's understandable. Nobody enjoys criticism, but emotionally mature people learn to separate helpful feedback from unnecessary negativity.
How do they do that?
They ask themselves two questions. Is this criticism true? If it is true, what can I improve? If the criticism isn't helpful or accurate, they don't allow it to control their confidence.
That's such a balanced approach, neither ignoring every opinion nor believing every negative comment.
Exactly. Wise people remain open to learning while protecting their self-respect.
Another thing I've observed is that successful people celebrate small victories.
That's a wonderful habit. Many people wait until they achieve a huge goal before feeling proud, but successful people understand that small wins build motivation. Finishing one chapter, learning 10 new English words, completing one workout, saving a little money. Those victories deserve recognition because they create momentum.
Momentum seems incredibly important.
It really is. Small successes increase confidence. Confidence encourages more action. More action creates better results. It's a positive cycle.
Before we finish today's conversation, what's one message you'd like every listener to remember?
I tell them this. Your biggest obstacle is often not failure. It's believing that failure defines you. Mistakes are events. They are not your identity. As long as you're willing to learn, improve, and continue moving forward, you're still growing.
It's about facing challenges with courage, patience, and a willingness to learn.
Exactly. Every setback contains a lesson. Every obstacle develops resilience. Every difficult season prepares you for future opportunities. The people who continue growing are usually the people who continue believing that improvement is possible.
It's amazing how much we've discussed throughout this series. If you had to summarize the psychology of success in one sentence, what would you say?
Successful people don't think differently because they've already succeeded. They succeed because they learn to think differently. Your mindset influences every decision you make, and those decisions eventually shape your future.
That's such a powerful idea. People often wait for success to give them confidence, but perhaps confidence grows because they continue taking action.
Exactly. Confidence isn't something you receive, it's something you build. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your confidence. Every challenge you overcome proves that you're capable of more than you thought.
So confidence is earned through consistent action.
Absolutely. Think about learning English. At first, speaking feels uncomfortable. You make mistakes. You forget words. You hesitate. But every conversation makes you stronger. Eventually, speaking English becomes natural because you've practiced consistently.
That reminds me of something we've repeated throughout this series. Small actions create big results.
Exactly. Many people underestimate the power of daily improvement. Imagine improving by just 1% every day. At first, the progress seems invisible. But after months and years, those small improvements completely transform your abilities.
That's encouraging because it means nobody has to change their entire life overnight.
Great success is usually the result of many ordinary days spent making good decisions.
Let's talk about comparison. Why do so many people lose motivation when they compare themselves to others?
Because comparison often focuses on appearances instead of reality. People compare their own struggles with someone else's achievements. They see the success. They don't see the years of hard work, failure, sacrifice, and persistence behind it.
So comparison creates unrealistic expectations.
It often does. The healthiest comparison is with your past self. Ask yourself, am I improving? Am I learning? Am I becoming a little stronger than I was yesterday? Those questions lead to real growth.
Another habit I've noticed is gratitude. Successful people seem grateful even while working toward bigger goals.
That's because gratitude and ambition can exist together. You can appreciate what you already have while continuing to improve your future. Gratitude helps you notice progress instead of focusing only on what's missing.
That creates a healthier balance.
Exactly. People who appreciate small victories are often more motivated to continue.
Let's imagine someone listening today feels like they're too old, too inexperienced, or too far behind to become successful. What would you tell them?
I'd remind them that everyone begins somewhere. Every expert was once a beginner. Every confident speaker was once nervous. Every successful entrepreneur once had an idea instead of a company. The best time to start may have been years ago. The second best time is today.
I love that. Waiting for perfect circumstances usually means waiting forever.
Exactly. Success belongs to people who begin before they feel completely ready.
Let's discuss purpose. Why is purpose so important?
Purpose gives meaning to discipline. Without purpose, it's difficult to remain motivated during challenging times. When you know why you're working hard, temporary discomfort becomes much easier to accept.
So purpose answers the question, why am I doing this?
Exactly. Purpose gives direction. Discipline provides consistency. Learning creates improvement. Together, they produce remarkable results over time.
Before we finish, I'd like each of us to share one final message.
I'd like every listener to remember this. Success is not reserved for a special group of people. It belongs to those who are willing to learn continuously, work consistently, accept mistakes, remain patient, and keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. Every day gives you another opportunity to improve your future.
And my final message is this. Never underestimate the power of today's decisions. Reading one chapter, practicing English for 30 minutes, exercising for 20 minutes, saving a little money, helping another person. Those actions may seem ordinary today, but repeated over months and years, they create an extraordinary life.
The wonderful news is that every listener can begin building that future today. Not by becoming perfect, but by becoming a little better than yesterday.
Thank you for joining us for our 4-part series. Throughout this journey, James and Emily explore the mindset, habits, resilience, and lifelong principles that help people achieve meaningful success. Let's remember the 4 biggest lessons from this series. Success begins with the way you think. Small daily habits create extraordinary long-term results. Every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow. Success is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey of continuous improvement. No matter where you are today, remember this. You don't need to be the smartest person. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need perfect circumstances. You simply need the willingness to begin, the courage to continue, and the patience to grow. Your future is created by the choices you make today. Thank you for listening. Keep learning, keep growing, keep believing in yourself, and never stop becoming the person you're capable of becoming. We'll see you in the next English Conversation podcast. Goodbye, everyone.